Hello. I was wondering if you would like to come to my party on Saturday?
No, I cannot. I have a camp for my WGI indoor percussion line this weekend.
Oh. What is WGI Indoor Percussion?
WGI stands for Winter Guard International. It is an indoor color guard and percussion circuit. The color guards consist of members who do incredibly difficult work to recorded music, commonly using flags, rifles, sabers, and dance. The percussion lines play music arranged for percussion ensemble. In the ensemble, there is the marching battery percussion and the front ensemble. In the WGI circuit, several groups compete for top honors in Scholastic and Independent A-Class, Open Class, and World Class.
Fascinating. Which class is your WGI Indoor Percussion line in?
We are an Independent World Class.
What is the name of your percussion line?
Rhythm X.
I have never heard of them. Are you guys any good?
Yes. We have been Independent World Class finalists for the past 8 years. Of those 8 years, Rhythm X has been in the top 5, 6 times, top 3, 6 times, and were first place Independent World Class champions in '08 and '09.
And you were in Rhythm X for all 8 of those years?
No. This is my rookie year at X.
Oh. I am much less impressed by you now. You mentioned that there is a marching battery and a front ensemble. What does that mean exactly?
The front ensemble consists of percussion instruments that are stationary. The members in the front ensemble play highly demanding music for almost the entire show. Common instruments in the front ensemble consist of marimba, vibraphone, xylophone, glockenspiel, drum set, auxiliary percussion also known as rack, synthesizer, guitar, timpani, and much more.
I fail to know any of those instruments aside from drum set and guitar, but please continue.
The battery ensemble consists of smaller instruments suitable for marching. The instruments in the battery are snare drum, tonal bass drums, cymbals, and multi-tenors, also known as quads, also known as quints, also known as sextets, also known as squints, also known as tenors.
That sounds interesting. Which of these instruments do you play?
I play the marching snare drum.
Is the marching snare drum the hardest to play?
Yes, it most certainly is. The snare line is always the best and most hardcore line in the entire ensemble. We are also the most good-looking section as well.
What makes marching snare drum harder than tonal bass drums or multi-tenors, also known as quads, also known as quints, also known as sextets, also known as squints, also known as tenors?
The basses have less notes per individual person, however, tonal bass drum parts are panned out so that each note is played by a different person. This is incredibly difficult to do and requires perfect rhythmic timing. Bass lines can take the snare part and split it between each member in the line. The basses play extremely demanding parts such as 30-second note 4 runs, split singles also known as split atoms, split rolls also known as squibs, and much more. The tenors have 5 or 6 drums. They fly across the drums performing highly technical passages. This requires an intensely high degree of coordination and technique. The tenors can play the snare part, but split it around the drums, to make it more tonally and visually interesting. Tenors play very technically demanding music such as butterflies, inward butterflies, candy apples, skanks, doilies, and much more.
And what do snare drummers have to do?
We play on one very light 13-inch drum. We must play incredibly demanding parts such as triplet rolls, grandmas, pataflaflas, cheeses, flam drags, hurtus, putatus, singles, choo-choos, book reports, doctoral theses, flam fives, yo-yos, evil Knievels, walk the dogs, eat the muffins, inverted umbrellas, tasty cakes, sugar-coated cookies, insect repellents, and much more. However, the tenors and basses can play all of these previously mentioned rudiments, but split around the drums. Also, the light weight of the snare drum makes it much easier to march our visually demanding drill.
The snare drum sounds like it is the easiest from your description.
No, snare drum is the coolest and most badass instrument ever. We get the most credit during any battery ensemble moment, and we are always the center of attention.
Oh. Do all snare drummers have a huge egos like you?
I do not have an ego. But yes, All of the other snare drummers that I have marched with think they are the best thing to happen to the world.
I now understand why you play the snare drum. Is Rhythm X located near this area?
No. It is approximately a 6 to 7 hour drive to get to X each weekend.
You are crazy. Is there a WGI indoor percussion line closer than that?
Yes, there are several. But I want to march X because of their ridiculously hard book. Also, they have an excellent staff.
Oh, I see. Does Rhythm X cover your gas money?
No, I must cover all of my travel fees. It ends up being about $75 in gas and $20 for food each week. I also must pay a tuition fee of $1,200 to be a member of this WGI ensemble.
This seems like the biggest waste of money I have ever heard of in my life.
No, it is not. The experience is worth the cost. I get to play in one of the best drum lines that ever existed. Also, we get the opportunity to perform for thousands of people over the course of the season. We play at local high schools in small gymnasiums where the ensemble can't really fit. We do several WGI regionals and then WGI finals at the University of Dayton Arena.
I fail to see how this experience is worth spending $100 a week and $1,200 for the season.
During the nights between rehearsals, we stay at local housing sites and party way too hard. This is probably the most fun part of marching in Rhythm X. However, I always feel horrible for the next morning's rehearsal due to my terrible hangover.
You could just do that at home. I still fail to see why this is a good experience. You said there is a high visual demand. Please explain.
Indoor percussion is much more than the actual drumming. We also are taught to perform the show by projecting our image up to the audience. The tempos are usually very fast, over 200 beats per minute. Our step size is usually very large as well, around 6 to 5s. We must continue to project our image and maintain superior marching technique during our demanding drill and music.
Does the battery play split fours, triplet rolls, candy apples, and other rudiments for the entire show?
No, there are several times where the battery is tacit while the front ensemble is playing. The battery primarily plays during louder sections of the show. However, the battery is always doing something visually while the front ensemble plays. We can do plis, releves, lunges, foot positions 1 through 5, grande plis, and much more.
So essentially, the front ensemble consists of the real musicians, while the battery is more of a dance squad.
No, you do not know what you are talking about. The battery consists of the best musicians, especially the snare drums. We are badass and awesome.
But, you said the battery usually only plays during loud sections, and you do body during softer musical sections. Therefore, the battery is a loud playing dance squad.
No. The battery is badass. Every drummer wants to be in the battery, especially the snare line.
If I were a drummer, I would definitely rather play in the front ensemble than dance in the battery.
No, you are wrong.
Your logic does not make sense to me.
If you do front ensemble, then you will miss out on playing rudiments such as Shirley Murphy's 9-lit 3s, cheese inverts, Dennis Rodman's paradiddle-diddles, flam taps, Swiss Army triplets, brave little toasters, oven mittens, or Freddy Krueger's.
So the front ensemble cannot play Shirley Murphy's, Potatus, Hurtus, Unicycles, Angry Gorillas, Prostate Examinations, Captain Morgan Shots, or Sesame Timbers?
Actually, most people in the front ensemble have the ability to play rudiments such as those and have them in the show on occasion. But the front ensemble usually plays more beautiful and meaningful music using formula technique while exploring through the endless variety of timbres in the auxiliary percussion and synthesizer.
I do not want to hear any more about WGI.